Welcome to Kurt's Home Living. Today I'm going to make a seafood chowder out of my Father's Day leftover seafood bake, which include lobster, crab, shrimp, mussels, clams. I took everything out of the shells with some corn, potatoes. I took a fish head and the carcasses and fish parts to make this delicious stock for the soup. Welcome back. Today I'm going to take my Father's Day seafood bake / boil, the last bit of it, and make some chowder, seafood chowder. I've already made my seafood stock here with fish heads, fish bones, clam shells, mussel shells, lobster shells, crab shells, all kind of shells, shrimp shells, little salt and pepper for my stock. Now I started my bacon. I have some bacon over here. Okay, I cut up some onions, celery, and carrots, potatoes. I'm gonna throw in my onions, celery, and carrots now into the bacon fat. I also added some grapeseed oil in the bacon fat. We're gonna put our raw vegetables in. Save our potatoes for last. Here's all the shrimp and crab meat, lobster meat, mussels, some potatoes, corn that was in the seafood bowl, some garlic. Let me cut this garlic up. And I added some scallops. We have clam meat, 2 different kind of shrimps. We're going to be adding that last as well. Okay, right now we're going to go ahead and get these veggies softened up. When I make my chowder, I don't even use cream, and I just use milk and flour. So I'm going to continue that and just use milk and flour to thicken this up. I don't like mine too thick. Okay, while those veggies are softening up, I believe I already have the flavor that I want in my broth. Let's give it a taste. Great flavor. And these have been boiling for about an hour now. That way I'm guaranteed to get flavor. I'm going to go ahead and strain these. Pour my broth back in the pot. Not saying I'm going to use all this broth. Let me go clip me a few sprigs of thyme. Along with the thyme, I also clip some rosemary and some oregano. And I'm going to throw them in. Okay. I'm going to add a third of a stick of butter. I'm going to get a couple tablespoons of flour. About 3 tablespoons of flour. Going to create a blonde roux. Going to cook this flour down in this oil, butter. And we'll combine it with the vegetables.
combine everything with our seafood boil and our homemade stock.
And some milk.
Okay, now we're going to just combine it with the veggies. And blend all that together. So our seafood boil is already cooked. I've added a few raw shrimp and a few raw scallops, but we're going to create a sauce before we even put that stuff in. That stuff's going to go on last. At this point, we can add our potatoes. Or raw potatoes, that is. Okay, I have all the juices from the pan from the seafood boil. Some mushrooms in here. Let's get these shrimp shells out of here. We're just going to throw this in this pot, in this pan. Okay, that'll take care of the pan from the seafood boil. I try to utilize everything so far out of the seafood boil. I made a salad.
And the salad was delicious with my homemade honey vinaigrette.
And I also infused some of the seafood meat into some ground meat and made a burger.
And this burger was quite unique indeed. Juicy, just delicious.
50-50 surf and turf burger. Half ground meat and half shrimp, scallops, crab meat, mussels, clams. It was pretty good. I'm also going to take a couple of tablespoons of flour and get it in this seafood broth. So we make sure we have the proper thickness. Okay, once that seafood broth comes to a boil, we're going to add some of that thickener to that. Now, as I stated, all the seafood is basically done. So you want to make sure that your broth or your flour mixture is seasoned and ready for the seafood to be added to it. You want it already there before you add your seafood. It's only going to take 5 minutes to cook the seafood, and to heat up the corn and reheat up the potatoes. Okay, at this point, I'm going to add some milk to this. Make sure that slurry is well mixed. It's stewy right now, but as soon as we add our milk and our broth, it's going to thin it out nice, turn it into a nice chowder. Got a nice taste to it. This is how it looks after adding 3 tablespoons of flour.
And some of the seafood baked drippings.
Okay, we got a boil on our broth. We're going to go ahead and add our slurry. Give this a mix. Just let that thicken up. All right, now we're going to add our milk. Say about a cup of milk. going to add the pan mixture into the pot. I'm going to go ahead and throw these little legs in there just for looks. I also have a plate of extra mussels still in the shell that I'm going to put in there. A lot of people think that chowder is basically all milk and cream, when really the flavors actually come from the broth. If you're making clam chowders, usually the juice from the can of clams. In my case, I made my own seafood broth because I had the fish head and the shells, things like that, to create a seafood broth. And believe me, it tastes, you can taste the ocean in the broth. It makes a difference. Some people cut corners and use chicken broth, veggie broth, but you're not going to get the same effect unless you use some actual clam juice or seafood broth. Okay, I have some fish sauce. Put a couple squirts of fish sauce in here. And this is your standard Squid brand fish sauce. It says ingredients: anchovies, salt, sugar. So it's basically anchovy juice or sauce made from anchovies. We'll let that cook down for about five minutes or so. Gotta be patient with this broth because the flour still has to cook down. And I keep the top off. That'll allow it to thicken faster. Okay, I have a boiled egg. I'm going to go ahead and slice it down and serve it on the top. I also have a piece of lemon here. Let's slice that. And serve it on the top as well. Okay, now it's time to add our other ingredients. First, we're going to take some of these mussels, throw these in here. I'm not going to use all of these mussels. Clams. Set the rest to the side. Now I'm going to throw in my seafood. Some of the corn I cut off the cob, and some of it I just cut the cob down into 1/4-inch rings. Okay, looking good. Okay, this will take between 5 to 7 minutes. We should be ready to serve. Okay, I'm gonna crack some pepper and put on the top of this. Need some pepper. We haven't returned to a boil, but we wanted to boil 4 to 5 minutes. put a sprinkle of cayenne pepper in here. And a sprinkle of Old Bay. And I'm gonna do a little zest. Actually, I got a peel over here. I'm gonna just use a piece of that lemon. This is all from the bowl. Take just a few more minutes and that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing plated up. Seafood chowder is just about ready. I'm gonna get this plated up and I'll be right back. And here it goes. Seafood chowder, made from leftover seafood boil / bake. Scallops, shrimp, crab, lobster, mussels, clams, corn, potatoes, broth made from my own homemade seafood.
Stop.
Served with some Captain wafers. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.
This was an excellent use of leftover seafood bake. The creaminess, the variety of seafood, the richness of the broth, the flavors were just out of this world. This was delicious. And thanks for watching Kurt's Home Living Seafood Chowder.